hit and bounce and dissipate and spread around. And the saturation is going down because the gray and the... So I'll kind of probably get into color mixing, but now it's going to get a little bit more advanced. So starting out in a void, we have this object here. Let's say that we have this wall here. And again, I'm going to start really bad. I like to start just insanely simple and then build up and up and up upon that. I think it's just makes learning a lot easier. So we'll just start with one wall here. So this is essentially this blue wall here. So you see as I place it down, you get the bounce light. It's due to ray tracing and kind of the 3D world. So I'm going to kind of consider it like you're working in a dark room, like you're painting over these things. And then I'll get into how to paint them without opacity, which I think is a really good skill to have, and you can understand color a lot better. So that's essentially what's happening is the sun is coming down, it's bouncing in here and it's reflecting, but that's pretty accentuated, but you can kind of tone it down and say, oh, that kind of looks believable as it's going down there and it's wrapping around the form. And, you know, if you have a whole painting, you're going to have tons and tons of light bouncing around and different objects with different like tones and values in it, and it gets a little bit complex. Okay, so this is the red plane here. So you can see as I turn it off, it's not as red. And then it bounces. And then you're going to see that, okay, well, this is more red here, but then here you're having a clash of the red and the blue together. So you're actually, if I think of it kind of like a tug of war. Okay, let's say this is our floor here. And I'll fill it in. Bear with me, I'm using my mouse. Okay. And remember, this is, yes, it's like a 2D view, as flat as it possibly is. The camera's a little, you know, because if I had a long lens, technically, if I had a long lens and I zoomed out really far and then I zoomed in, it would be this. It kind of flattens everything. Maybe I'll make a video about lenses. I don't know. Okay. I'm painting it in. And this one's closer, so it might bounce more. Or you could say that this surface here is, I guess this is a good example of it. If this surface was more rough, so like let's say that it's, I don't know, a certain type of concrete or anything that's matte. Let's say this is the surface. There's a bunch of jagged, it's pretty rough matte surface on a microscopic level. So what happens is, let's say that this is like a light beam. Say it goes in here, it hits here, and then it somehow hits in here, and then hits in here and hits in here. And it doesn't directly hit the floor and reflect. So these little crevices, the light will hit and bounce and dissipate and spread around inside the surface. So anyways, that's just a random tidbit about matte surfaces and why they operate the way they do. So now if we take this off and these, okay, it looks pretty flat, especially here. It looks like very graphical. As you put this one in, oh, it looks like it's actually interacting with the world around it. And then here, again, it looks like it's interacting with the world around it. And then you'll see here, it becomes a little bit purple. You know, you might not paint in Photoshop or whatever it is and have these opacity layers. And you might actually just, which is a really, really good skill, and I'm going to probably do a video on it, is to paint without opacity brushes and just paint with a really, really hard brush. Like I could essentially paint with just my mouse. Maybe I'll do a video on that. What's happening here, and this is where color can get really complex, is you have this blue here, which is adding to the gray. So it's not this value. This is the value slider. So I really suggest using the 3 because you can really break down what's happening. The hue isn't changing. The hue isn't changing, but the value is changing and the saturation is changing. So it says as it's reflecting here, it's getting desaturated and it's kind of matching the color of, or the value of this cylinder. So it's going down. Obviously, it's kind of stupid. But then here, you see this is red. Here, this is blue. But then here, it's in the middle of them. So, it's simple, but it's really easy to overlook these things when you're jamming out to your music and painting. The red is blending with the blue here, and then you're getting the color in between. So now imagine you had color like on the cylinder itself, and then you have the blue color here, the red color here, and then they're blending there. And this is happening in the shadows or wherever, and it can get pretty complicated. So anyways, here's just the start. I'm gonna get into other lighting scenarios right now, and I'm going to get into probably color mixing a little bit later or another video, but I just wanted to showcase this. You know, we have our blue and we have our red, and they're fading very nicely. And you get this purple in the middle. This here, and then this here, and then this here. Oh, I got a little blue in there. Let's get a pure red. Let's look at the color sliders, right? So as you go up, look at the hue especially. So here's my basic explanation of light bleeding and how it affects objects and how to kind of create things that are believable that feel like they're in a space. I'm going to kind of get into, this is a very neutral light. And if, say, we have a warm light, ooh, oh, that's pretty neutral. Let's just say there's a warm light hitting, then how that will affect the shadows. And also, if the object itself is, let's say, like a pink, I don't know, it's like a pink skin, something, like how the issues of like turning form, things can look pretty dead. If this is a skin color, then that kind of looks a little bit too gray, and like how to address that. So I'll kind of probably get into color mixing, but now it's going to get a little bit more advanced. Kind of stay tuned for that. I'm going to make a big collection of this into kind of one big mega video, but if you appreciated this, just like or comment if there's anything that you were confused about, and I'd be happy to get back and explain it and try my best. But thank you so much.